my final presentation for my Twitter account, Pocket Change Travel. Initially, when I created the account, I created it to be kind of a source for like good deals on travel and tips on how to find those deals. And as I got started, I created my persona. She was Travel Jane. She was college student-ish age, 20 to 30, making 15 to 20 grand a year. Um, Most of the time working part-time and in school, but still just kind of had that itch to travel. And so when I was creating content for that persona, the things that I put out were things like, this is the best place to find travel deals, and here's a tip to find them. And then as I kept going, I realized that my most popular tweets were not tweets on how to find deals, it was tweets on what I like to do when I travel and travel tips that I'd found. Some of so my persona kind of changed as I went along, and it actually turned into kind of a tips place for like travel bloggers and travel influencers. The majority of my followers are actually bloggers and influencers for travel. There's quite a few travel journalists. I've been actually contacted by a travel journalist from the New York Times. She used some of the stuff that I've tweeted, so that's been kind of cool. But my persona did change from kind of a college student looking to travel to more of a like a middle-aged persona. Most of my followers are within the like 25 to 40 range now. Most of them have steady careers. They are a lot of them are journalists, and for the most part, they do actually have the money to travel at a with a larger budget. So they're making 60 to 80 grand is about what we're looking at for my persona now, which is interesting. And a larger amount of my followers are actually male rather than female, so almost a completely different persona than what I started out with. My strategy for gaining followers and becoming an influencer, I in the beginning just kind of tweeted just to kind of get a feel for what would happen, and then as I continued on with that, realized that the more people I followed, the more people followed me. So I think I'm following like 500 people now, and I have 67 followers. Some of the content that I created, I like to put out aesthetically pleasing pictures. That was one thing that I carried through from my initial persona to the persona that I ended up catering towards. They all liked good pictures of places, aesthetic pictures of whatever they're looking at. All of my tweets with photos received more engagement than tweets that didn't have photos. Um, this particular tweet just is a good picture that says travel the world, and it's a tip about visiting local tourist office. This actually received the most engagements of pretty much any tweet I sent out. It was replied to by a travel journalist who actually works in a tourist office. So she said, great tip, so that felt pretty good. I also did shout outs to different companies that provide travel deals. This one was to Travelocity. I did quite a few to like Wow Air and Kayak and things like that. And I did get some response back, not from the company themselves, but just from people that saying, yeah, that's a great company. I love them, kind of thing. I ended up receiving 67 or attracting 67 followers. And that increased by like 50 people at the beginning of this month. I think I had 11 or 12. And then as I followed more people followed me. As far as analytic information goes, you can see my engagement rate spikes at the beginning of this month, and my follower rate spikes too. Most of my followers are male. I didn't get enough followers to actually have those analytics provided, but I scrolled through my followers just to see because I was curious. The tweets that received the most engagement were definitely tweets with photos and with like links that people could click on to find products that I learned a lot from this project. I definitely have a greater respect for people that are influencers. It takes a lot of work to get there. It definitely is a full-time job. I would love for it to be a part of my career. I learned a lot about travel, and that was kind of cool. And I learned how to run a Twitter account effectively, which is something that I can apply later on. And I decided that if all else fails, I just want to be a travel agent. Thanks for watching. Safe travels!